Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fate Podcast, where we discuss film, anime, television, and other forms of entertainment. I'm your host, Elijah, and we have Sam as a guest host. Say hi, Sam.
What's good, everybody?
So today we are going to review what we're gonna review. I'm just playing. We're gonna review Invincible. You feel me? It's an anime superhero um show that's on Amazon right now. You can go stream it. They got the first season. Not even on Amazon Prime. They got the full season. The creator of the show is Robert Kirkman, the same creator that did The Walking Dead. So yes, it is graphic, and yes, there are spoilers. So we're going to talk about the whole show. So if you haven't seen it yet, pause it, go watch it, and come back to see what we talked about and see what our thoughts are on the show. So Sam, the show, what's your thoughts about it? The overall thoughts about the show.
Um, I got a pretty easy way to sum it up. The animated version of The Boys.
Yes, I agree with that
But I
assessment.
mean, it's it's awesome though. It it's like I was thinking about it last night and even like watched like recaps of it just because it's been like a month or so since I've seen it all and talked about it with my friends. But um it's just awesome, dude. They while it has generic things in there, like
Mhm.
you could sum it up as just like, oh yeah, it's a boy in high school that gets superpowers and he's trying to make his, understand his life. It's like, oh, okay, so like Spider-Man or any teenage superhero ever.
Mhm.
But they do a good job of doing their own thing, though. I think it was really cool that it branched off. And also, I totally didn't realize that the same guy that made The Walking Dead made this. So I
Mhm.
thought that was pretty dope. I'm not
Yeah.
a Walking Dead fan. I watched for a few seasons, but I just couldn't get into it after that.
No, I think no, he's good with his graphic novels. I think theirs was a lot of he loved the gore and the darkness of stuff. And he loved making things that is grounded in reality. Like, what if this actually happened and this and that. So I agree with your observation saying like anime series to the boys, because that's what I first thought as well. Especially the first episode was just like, it was like, yeah, people saving the world and the dad coming in and the copycats of the Justice Leagues. I'm not even gonna lie. I was just like, seriously? And but at the end of that episode where he just murders everyone, and you'd be like, okay, so this is the tone now of the series. Like you get it now. It's just like you you think people is gonna be okay, especially the heroes, because this is supposed to be a superhero show and all the other stuff, but it's really grounded in reality, and it's just at most times it's just sad. Like it's just sad.
Dude,
Like
correct me
the
if I'm wrong. That first episode, when all that goes down, the credits had hit, right? Like the credits began to roll and then it was like an after credit thing where like all that went down, or am I misremembering that?
I'm not sure, to be honest, because uh with
Because they do
Amazon,
those sharp cuts.
yeah, they do have the sharp cuts, and then but I think it only happens in certain episodes.
That's true.
I'm
I
not
think you're
sure if
right.
it happened in the first episode, because with well, I have to rewatch it, but sometimes, because with Amazon, when I'm watching it and the credits show, it will be like, okay, 10 seconds until the next episode. But then when the credits show, it doesn't do that, and it goes on to the next scene, and then it goes to, okay, 10 minutes until or 10 seconds until the next episode. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure if that happened. All I know is when that crap went down, when he killed all the
Guardians of the
guardians of the
Globe.
globe, that we call them, yeah, guardians of the globe. I was just like, god damn. Like
Because dude, it just gets hyper violent so
yeah.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
and you're just kind of like, wait, what's happening? And now,
Yeah.
was your first initial thought, oh, he's like under something spell, or are you
Um.
just like, oh, why did he do that? What's his
No,
motives now?
I think it wasn't for me. It wasn't like that because if if it was like that, it would have been a cop out, and the ending or the way he did it, the reason he did it wasn't powerful enough for me. If it was like that, thank God it wasn't. But no, I never thought he was under control. Like I thought it was fully him. I thought that, and I knew it because they hinted at that the Guardians of the Globe didn't like him because when they were saving the president, he came in trying to save the day, but they kind of give him an attitude. Like Batwing was just like, oh, well, like even say thank you when he saved Batwing from the being crushed by the car, and they didn't really acknowledge him as much and stuff like that. So I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, so when he came in and killed everyone, I'm just like, no, there's a dark side to him. Like they probably know something that I don't, but yeah, I never thought it was mind
Okay.
control. How about you?
Yeah, no, that was my reaction too. Was like, I think for a moment I was just like, was he? But then like I was just kind of like, I feel like this dude's just lying because like when the next like a thing that was really good about this show was like
Mm-hmm.
it transitioned very well. Like it
Yeah.
picks up right there,
Mm-hmm.
so it just keeps it going. And and he's just like, oh, I don't remember, and you're kind of just like, I'm just like, I'm not buying this. Like everyone else in like the story, and I never read the comic, but if I
Yeah, me
had,
either.
I would have known what was coming because apparently like people that I know that have read the comic are just like, oh, it's a shot for shot, like frame for frame of the comic. And
That's
I'm
good.
kind of, yeah, that's fucking sick.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not something that you get a lot these days. So the fact that they were like really within it, and I mean, a huge reason why this show even got made was because of Seth Rogen and his partner Evan Goldberg, his writing partner that does all different projects together.
Mm-hmm.
They're the biggest reason why the show got made.
And you know what's funny? Going back to Steph Rogen, like I didn't know he was the alien dude until like the last episode. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's Steph Rogen. That sounds like him.
Yeah.
But when he came the first time, I couldn't piece it together. But then when he came last time, because I guess, and I was just like, okay, this is Steph Rogen. But yeah, that was good. But I can agree that this show was really good. It was unexpected. The twist, I knew who was. I just did the twist of him not being who he said he was. Um, I kind of figured it was that because there's no in my mind because it goes to like there's a good reason he did it. Even he's telling us there's a good reason that I did it. You feel me? So the audience have to be like, okay, we have to believe you because you're the hero. You wouldn't do this out of nothing or for a stupid reason. Like the mom was convinced, the Mark was convinced, even the head um Nick Fury type of dude was convinced that there was a reason why. But it
Dude,
was
oh, sidebar real quick. Their version of Batman was fucking tight. I
bro.
thought it was sick.
No, it was. I think I'm like, oh, okay. How did you like the the um the replicas or whatever you want to call it of the Guardians of the Globe? Because you can compare them to again the Justice League.
Oh, like the first one, or like when they assembled the new team of it all?
No, the first one.
Oh, yeah, you see that and you're just kind of like, oh,
Like
really?
War Woman, Batwing,
War.
and the Fish. I was like, this is a Justice League. Or were you kind of pissed off that he did something like that, or was you just like, oh, okay, that's it's okay.
To me, it kind of seemed more like tongue in cheek,
Yeah.
like kind of like almost kind of like making you think that they're gonna do the same thing, and it's just funny that they have that, but then the fact that they just rip it away from you felt like
I
a
know,
very like Game of
and
Thrones
that's
thing.
yep,
So like to me, because it was ripped away in that first episode, it's just like, oh, he was just fucking around.
exactly. And the superhero character, or I mean, the Superman character ain't nothing like Superman, you know. Um, so I think the everything was done well on that part. What do you feel about the characters? Like, was there any characters you attached to or you really love besides the main character? And again, we're gonna go into
Course.
Mark.
Uh, uh, I really liked his friend. I thought his friend was an interesting side character that
Hmm.
like that supported him, but like was also ultimately like crushed because of like what that guy's involved in.
Hmm.
You know, kind of the old thing of like superheroes where, you know, when you get too close with someone, like you're liable to get hurt because of just their line of work. And
You're
I
talking
liked
about the friend
him.
that
I
makes
liked his
suits, right?
girlfriend too. That was played by Zazie B, or is it like Angie or something?
Amber.
Yeah, Amber.
Yeah.
That girl he started dating. I thought she was a really interesting
No,
character
she was. She was.
because it kind of makes you think he's going for that other girl,
Yes, it did.
the pink one. What was her name?
Um, Adam Eve. Eve.
Adam Eve. That
Yep.
was right.
Yep.
It kind of makes you think that, but like I'm almost glad they didn't go that way because that would have
Exactly.
felt like a very cliche thing. And the
Yes.
fact that he went with this girl that like got attached to him because of this very nice thing that he did and was just like overwhelmed by it. Her now, he's just kind of like, oh yeah, like I'm just gonna go with. I was like, perfect.
Yeah, and again, talk with the cliche. I think Robert Kerman didn't do the cliches like the superhero being the idol or the good guy like Omni-Man was or Superman was, and the Justice League take on it, which again he ripped it away. And I think he did everything you think you're supposed to do, and he did the complete opposite, and that's what made the show more interesting to watch.
Yeah, because then the rest of the superheroes you deal with,
Hmm.
they're all like trying to be good.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like they're not all exactly good. Like what's that dude Rex?
yeah, Rex.
You know, he cheats on the girl with duplicate.
Yeah, duplicate.
Um, you know, so like they're just still like trying to figure out their own shit. And like another character that I like, but is also just kind of like, ew, what are you doing, man? It was Robot.
Hmm.
Cause like for a while you see him doing all this shit. You're like, what are you doing, you sketchy motherfucker?
Exactly.
Like, and it just makes you think he's doing all this, like he's about to betray all of them, but it gets into this weird realm of like, is he being a creeper? Because he goes into that 16-year-old's bot, like he made like a teenage version of Rex
Yeah.
from DNA he stole to then go out with a girl who is also a teenager, but she's really like 24, 25 years old,
Yeah.
and he's like 30. So like to me, like, you know, a lot of comments are like, oh, like it just kind of has this weird pedophilic thing. And I'm just like, but I'm like, they're both technically consenting adults, like,
Exactly.
but they're both kid. Like, I'm like, for me, it's like one gross, like weird gray area that I'm just like,
Yeah, it was really great. It's just like
I
it's
don't
hard to
want to
touch on.
touch that.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to touch on because if you defend them, you'd be like, because they're one is 30 and one's 25, but like, well, they have kids' bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like I
Well,
don't even know what
that's
to
the same
say to
thing of
that.
little people. They're freaking 40 and 50 years old, but they're have small, a tiny body and stuff like that. So, it's I ain't gonna go there, but
Yeah.
but yeah, but that actually I thought seeing Rex, not Rex, Robot doing all that shady stuff, I thought I'm like, okay, maybe that mind control thing really did, and he mind controlled Omni Man to kill the Guardians of the Globe so he can become the leader of the Guardians of the Globe. But then I kind of like pivoted because I was just like, well, no, because he wanted Omni-Man to become the leader and stuff like that. So I already didn't believe that wholeheartedly and whatnot. And I just
Yeah.
wanted to wait and see what Omni-Man had to say about why he killed those people and stuff like that.
And man, did he have a lot to say.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. But before we go towards the end,
Oh
let's
yeah.
focus on Mark Grayson, Invincible. Um, what do you think of him as a character, man? Because I think for me, and I think they did a really good job. He was he's flawed in many ways. He's naive, he's young, he optimistic about things and stuff like that. and he's dumb at the same time because he doesn't know the world. He doesn't know how to be a superhero and stuff like that. So you give this person Omni-Man powers, you'd be like, well, he's so flawed. Like, so he's so relatable to me and someone else. To, if we had powers, we would be just like him. But the way he deals with it is just like he needs Amber, he needs his mom, he needs his dad to kind of guide him through that growing pains of having superpowers. So I think they did that character really well.
I did too. I was thoroughly impressed, especially like the fact that it was Steven Yen. I think that's how you say.
Yes.
Yeah, he just. I like him as an actor a lot,
Yeah.
so I thought it was really cool to see him in that role. Um, and he had really good chemistry with J.K. Simmons. I thought those two. I thought like all the scenes and the moments where they were having their father son moments where he's really trying to teach him, and you can see some of that darkness from the dad seep in that moment too. Is
Mm-hmm.
like because he's pushing him for this like greater purpose that he's not telling him what it's for, other than what he thinks is just like, oh, I'm gonna be a superhero, I'm gonna help save the planet and stuff. In which the naiveness comes in, but like I thought it was really great, and I think what I always found funny is the moments where he's sharing his name. They always cut the title in just that
I know
Invincible,
that
and
was.
I'm just like, man, that is so bizarre.
You know why they do that?
Why?
No, no, I'm just asking because I have a theory. Like,
Oh, okay.
but do you have a theory why they do that?
No, no, I'm just kind of more like I'm just
Okay,
like I thought it was just supposed to be some unique thing, but like it's
I
only
think
like other people call him invincible. He never calls it
exactly.
himself.
I think one, they give him that name is ironic and stuff like that because he's
Mhm.
not invincible. And it's funny because I think they do that and they splash blood on it because he's
He's getting his
not
ass
that,
kicked.
huh? Because
He's-
he gets his ass kicked all the freaking time. So they splatter a little blood on it because he says he's invisible, but he's not. Because the amount of ass kicking he get in the show is like, how do you survive that? Like, how do you sleep the next day and be okay? So I think it's symbolic the way they do that, and I really like the way they did that. That's
I
my
didn't even
opinion,
think about that.
my
I
thoughts on
like that. I didn't even think about it like that,
it.
but
Yeah,
that's an interesting take that I really like a lot.
yeah, man. Because um, I don't know, this show is really different, and I like shows like this that's so grounded, and
Mhm.
even though the gore is out of this world, and you see the way if you handle your powers um poorly, it affects other people and stuff like that. Like when he tried to save the lady from the building, and then he the building fell, and he picked up the arm of the old lady, and he's just like, damn.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I was just like, god damn. Like, you feel it. Like, another scene where the aliens come to invade, and you know he trying to protect the old lady, and he was just running, and fell into a ditch. But when he fell into the ditch, he fell hard. So when he fell, he looked at the old lady and like bones was out and she was just bleeding. I was just like, you did a poor job. Like I said, showing him like, yo, you're not there yet. Like, and that's kind of the scenes that is set in the show.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge recurring theme of the show is just like him like constantly recalibrating what he's supposed to do. I mean, even the first time like you see him get his powers, it's it's that funny moment. He's just at work and he's trying to throw the trash and it just goes flying and you're just kind of like, all right, I guess he's
Yeah.
got him in now. It weirdly reminded me of like Disney Channel movie that was called Up Up and Away. Or
Yeah.
like, yeah, you remember
Yeah, I
that?
love
The same kind of thing
oh,
where the kids like
I
faking this.
know I know right now is a bad movie but honestly, I liked that movie when I was a little kid. But go ahead.
Dude, dude, I watched that not too long ago, and I'll tell you what, it's bad, but I still enjoyed it so much because I was just like, wow, this is just way too funny. Because they had some like great actor. They had LeVar
No,
Burton in that, didn't they?
they had who?
LeVar Burton, the Reading Rainbow guy, Star Trek.
Probably. I'm not sure. They had a whole
Might have
bunch
been
of
a different
A-list
guy.
actors on there. They had half the cast of The Walking Dead. I know what's her name? Meg from The Walking Dead. No, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
no.
no, yeah, they had a
Maggie.
lot of people.
Maggie. They had half of the people from probably half the people from The Walking Dead on there. And I'm like, okay, they did pretty well. Like,
Yeah, and then J.K. Simmons, of course.
yeah, Jink.
And what was funny with that casting, I was like, immediately I loved it in the show, but I was like, man, if they ever did live action, you couldn't put J.K. Simmons in that role.
No, you couldn't.
Like you couldn't. Like everyone would just be like, this, no.
No, it wouldn't work.
And I bet he would probably even agree. He's too old now, too.
Exactly.
Like you can't do that.
And there's just some things that works on his own like thing. So it had to be animated, and he has to voice Omni-Man, and that worked and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
I honestly I kind of don't want to see a live action of this for like a very long time, or maybe ever, just because they're doing a really good dude. I mean, this first season was so good. I think they already signed for a second and third season. I know for sure a second, but I think they've also signed for a third season. So I've kind of stumbled across a video that was giving a bit of spoilers as to what might be happening these next two seasons. So kind of seemed exciting what's to come.
What characters you didn't like?
Robot. I do like him, but like I also didn't, just because like what I like about him is the casting.
Yes.
Zachary Quinto. He played Spock in the track.
I know Zachary. He was a good cast though for that robot.
Very good cast because of like his monotonous voice. But like as the character itself, I was kind of like the only thing exciting was the fact that he was doing that weird thing with those two blue brothers. Like I just didn't find him that interesting. Like literally, if they didn't have that, I would have thought he was a really boring character. Like it was kind of like, they pushed him to that leadership role. And for me, I guess I do get why they put him there, because, he's a robot. He's measured. He's composed. He can keep a calm head in it all. Unlike the rest of them. Like if you put Rex in that role, that dude's too volatile to be a captain at this time. Invincible, not ready.
Yeah, he's not ready.
Maybe Adam Eve. She seemed like the most put together out of all of them. I didn't really care for Duplicate. I thought it was an interesting power, but
I think she was there so Rex can have sex with her. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's
just kind of there to do that moment.
I agree with you. There were some side characters that was you can replace them with someone else, and we wouldn't care. I mean, Same thing with the well, Monster Girl played a big role in that, so you couldn't really replace her. Shrink Girl, um, maybe you could replace her, but she didn't even do a lot of the talking. And the big older guy that lost his power but gained it right back, he uh he was just there, asked for it. Like they needed a veteran
Yeah, they
on the
needed that
team.
guy to push.
Exactly, and knows what he's doing. So he was valuable. But again, duplicate, you're right. But there, to be honest, there are a lot of the characters was used well. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I hated any of the characters because they were used well. Even I mean, even though you had villains that were just one-offs, like the dude that get a concussion, the old scientist dude that get a concussion every time he uses braces and stuff like that. Um,
Oh yeah.
but
That was a weird one.
yeah, but he was just they just needed a villain to fight for Mark to experience and all that, and that was understandable. He wasn't like the main villain for even that episode, but again, all the characters they used in this was used well, so there wasn't really characters I didn't like. Rex was obviously was an asshole, but he kind of redeemed himself towards the end.
No, definitely. He has a really great redemption
Yep.
within
Hmm.
that show. And I mean the guy they picked to voice him, I can't remember his name, but he's always in
I know he's
different
a
he plays
comedian.
Rafi
I
in the
Yeah,
league.
yeah, I know. He, I think he's a comedian,
Mhm.
or he's a pay, funny characters. But yes, I know who you're talking about.
But yeah, that was a great casting with
No, it
that
was.
guy. He always kind of plays those sorts of characters, but like he really showed out for this one, I thought. Like
No, he did.
it's definitely still that same craziness, but it's definitely more composed in the fact that like he's not a total lunatic.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's playing a superhero, so he has some wherewithal, but like he's just a greaseball, dude.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, there was also another character we can talk about is the demon character, Damien Demon, I believe. I know.
Dude, that demon detective was the shit. I don't know why, but I love it when they add shit like because it just gives me Constantine vibes, and that's like one of my favorite like DC animation
Mm-hmm.
movies and like one of my favorite DC characters. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So like seeing that, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I love that stuff. And like it was kind of funny because he was like really searching out the truth. Like he was just like, yeah, like he was his whole point was like he was trying to get out of hell or something, right?
I think it was yeah, something like his soul was in hell, so he's gonna try to make people find justice. I'm not completely sure about his storyline, but I
Yeah.
know he was doing good. And again, it's the cliche of demons are the bad ones, but in this one, they're doing the good ones, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That show Lucifer does a good job of doing stuff like that with
Yeah,
the idea with the demons and the devil himself. But
exactly.
yeah, I loved that character a lot. They did him dirty, bro. They did him
He did.
so dirty, but like it's so like yeah, that's what the government would do. If they sought out the help of a demon detective and then they were like, we can't have anybody share this knowledge. Oh yeah, let's just send it
No, they're
back to
gonna get
hell.
rid of people.
Like that's
It's
exactly
like
what would happen.
exactly. And I liked him as a character too, like the Nick Fury type of dude. Um, he was
He was like,
he was compassionate, but he knows, like he was like, I know what I need to do at this moment. But he was also caring for Mark and the wife of Omni Man and stuff like that, and wanted to save lives, but he also had a job to do, so it was kind of conflicting to like him sometimes because of that.
yeah, what was that? Cecil.
Yes, Cecil.
That was it. Cecil Stedman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's voiced by Walton Goggins, and that guy's a
Yes.
great actor too.
Mm-hmm.
Very good choice in that, I thought. Um, oh, Mark Hamill's in the show too. Interesting.
So what was your favorite episode?
Dude,
And
that's hard
we
to
had,
pick. You know
yeah.
what's funny is I was talking with my buddy the other day about it, and yeah, I think he kind of convinced me. He was like, I think the worst episode was the first one. And I
Mm.
was like, really? He was like, well, compared to what happens after that episode, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the worst one. And I was like, damn, you're fucking right. But I mean, dude, I might just have to be kind of mainstream here and probably say just the finale. Or or if I don't pick that, I'd probably pick the it was probably the second episode where like that alien invasion just kept
Oh
happening.
yeah, kept happening again
I
and
just
again.
thought that was so funny. Like I was just like, that's so great. It's just like they stop it, and then because how their timeline works, it's just like, oh no, it's
Exactly.
already been this many years, and like
Hmm.
they're just back from it's just like, oh my god, like what?
And then also, I guess it was also a training day for Mark, for him to like train to become a superhero or handle all this new situations that coming on. But again, they done that episode really well, because you would think like it would be annoying, but okay, why they keep on coming back? Why they keep on having to face? But they, they wrote it and did it in a funny way of them coming with new technology and stuff like that, and they reacting to it and stuff like that. And again, Rex giving his comedic atmosphere to that environment and stuff like that.
Oh
So
yeah.
that was good. I think
Yeah,
for
I
me,
would say that for me for sure. But what about you? Favorite
it's like
episode?
I felt the most on the last episode, um, and then obviously the first episode, and because with the last episode, once he found out that Omni Man's true purpose was to like rule Earth and all that stuff, like it became like a father and son type of thing. You feel me? It's like, Dad, why are you doing this? Like, I love you. And the way, and this would hurt my soul because again, I'm a father, maybe because I'm a father as well. Now, like Omni Man says punching his son, like, oh my God, like to almost to death. And I was just like,
Dude,
bruh,
like
like
he's
I felt it.
nothing, dude. Like I mean, he's even kind of saying that as he's punching him. Like he's
Yeah,
just like figure you don't get powers. What's another 17 years?
exactly. It's
You
just
know,
like, I was like,
start over, make another one. I'm like,
and I felt that the most. And again, I have a newborn that's I have a son that's a little over a month now, so that's why I'm probably more connected to that scene in that episode than anything else. I
dude, yeah.
was like,
And
I can never do that to my son. I'm like, oh my, like the disappointment. And to be honest, I'm not surprised if he doesn't come out with PTSD or trauma or something. Like, I'm not surprised he doesn't lose his freaking mind after what Omni Man did to him,
dude,
especially what happened um when he just grabbed his head and put it in the subway, and then this Mark can just see all the death while the train is coming at them and stuff like that. That scene, I was just like, oh my fuck, like this is so horrible right now. And this luckily is animated because I won't they won't get away with that if it was live action. They would not do that scene if it was live action.
dude, like we say that, but like also the boys does exist, and there's some pretty grotesque stuff that goes down.
I'm
But
not gonna.
but like yeah, but like it's almost like it would have to happen almost on the same platform
Yeah, it would.
in like a very similar fashion as that show to do it. And like, I mean, with it being animated, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like they really, yeah, like some of those things that they did in animation, no, they probably couldn't pull that off in a real movie just because it'd probably get slapped with an NC-17, which
No, it wouldn't.
I don't know how many movies that has happened to in recent
Exactly. It
history,
wouldn't.
but like that doesn't happen no more. So that's definitely what would happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I'm probably being pessimistic, but maybe it could happen. But it's it works perfectly with animation because you can do so much with animation.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. So what do you think about the twist that Omni Man is really a person that's supposed to rule the earth and conquer the earth instead of saving it.
Dude, it kind of rips your heart out because like though like I said there was that suspicious thing, but you still grow to like him in some sort of way. And like thinking like, you know what, he is kind of looking out for his kid. He's really trying to teach him the ropes and like because he does love his son and the fact that he has these powers. But
Mhm.
that's about it. Like he doesn't love him because he's like, I raised you. He's just like, oh, I love you now because you have these superpowers like me. And like the whole reveal of him talking about where he was from, I was thoroughly fascinated just because it really took a moment to deep dive into like expand the mythos and like what goes on in this universe. That there's this basically a planet of super Saiyans now. Like that's how I saw it. It was just like
No, I
if the
agree.
Saiyans figured out how to all do that, now they're all training and they're going out. Because I mean that it's the same thing Vegeta and what was the other guy's name?
Goku.
Not Goku. Whenever he first came to Earth in the
Oh,
show,
Raditz. No, I think it's Nappa, the bald
Nappa,
head
and
dude.
it was the other guy too, Raditz.
Yeah, Raditz. Yeah.
Yeah, both of those characters, but like still, like when they came there, like that was their purpose, is they showed up to take over the planet and conquer it. And like for me, it felt very much like that, but like still in its own unique way. Like it was like that, or you could even call it a planet of Supermans. Just they literally live forever, and and they just can fly, superpowers, everything. So like when he just reveals that and it's like, oh yeah, we were just meant to take over the planet. You're supposed to fucking help me. And he's just like, what about mom? That's because I'm kind of a mama's boy. The
Mm.
fact that like he was just like, oh, she was just kind of a pet. I
Yeah.
was just like,
Yeah.
yo,
That was that
you
was
really just don't give a fuck. But I guess
exactly.
if you're basically a god and you can live so long, you're not going to have an attachment to other living things after a
Hmm.
while, probably, especially if you're being born and bred to take over planets. Like,
Hmm.
you're just going to have no empathy, no sad emotions, no connection with a person ever. But, like, also, again, that moment of all that, it very much reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where Kurt Russell reveals to Chris Pratt and that he's like, yeah, that's why it was sad for me to give her that brain tumor. And just kind of like the reality shattered in that moment of just like, what did you say? And so it kind I felt those two parallel really good. And like though they're very similar things, it's still so effective though. It's
No, it
such an
is.
effective move of just being like, oh, and just immediate revenge, especially with him being a kid. Of course, his entire life just crumbled in one fucking story. And now his dad is his worst enemy. Like the kid understood that immediately. He was just like, my dad is now the worst thing I've ever come across in my life.
And I think that it was, again, like I said, since I'm a father, it was hard for me to see that. And hard for me to see a way he can get out that situation. Because like you said, the dad is the enemy now, and your dad is the strongest guy on earth, bro. So in my head, I'm like, damn, wow, he was like, wow, the way they did the scenes of Omni Man destroying Mark, bro, like punching him and then flying really quickly and punching him again. I was just like, how are you gonna get away from this situation? Like, how are you gonna end this show? Because I'm just like, there's no way, there's no possible way I can think of where you come out this alive.
Yeah,
So
and
I want to see. I want to see. I was like, okay, how the writer's going to do it, and I don't want to do it in a corny way where he's like unleash a special power we never heard of, and he was able to beat him. I'm like, no, that's corny, and that's stupid, and that's lazy writing. But the fact that, and I kind of like the ending and the way they did it, where he's punching him to death. And there's a flashback where one moment where they were happy and he was proud of being a dad. And he
Yeah, there
probably
was
forgot
this inkling of humanity all of a
exactly. It's
sudden
just
drops in.
like goddamn, like this is what like humans did to me, like Earthlings did to me. And then he's like, and he left. You know, so I guess and it's kind of like he had all the power, and he's saying Earth is weak, and these people mean nothing, and calling his wife a pet, like, but yet Earth affected him. It did something to him, just a little bit, for him not to leave the planet, and that's powerful. And to be honest, I should thought about that right now. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No,
powerful.
yeah, it's a very powerful thing that they slowly do. And like again, something you're not expecting. Because like you said, you're sitting there going, yo, how is this about to wrap up? Like this kid's dead. How is there going to be more? Sure enough, it's just all of a sudden something triggered in his head, and he just had that moment of humanity, and he left. And as of course, as he's flying off, you just see these tears just kind of going off
Mhm.
of his face in the
Yep.
distance in space. And I kind of wonder if they'll dive into that at all. Like I wonder if he'll just mask it as like I was ashamed of myself because I did have this moment of weakness and I left.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean I fucking love you. It just means that I had a moment of weakness and I needed to get back and what I'm supposed to do. And like yeah, I just kind of wonder where it will all go next season. And I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see what will happen. And like that's kind of like an unfortunate thing of the series, right? Is that it's 8 episodes
Yeah.
and that's it. And like that first episode was the longest, I think. It was about like almost 50 minutes, but
Mhm.
then the rest are like 30-ish,
No, the
right?
rest is no, the rest is about like 42, 41.
Oh, is it about 40
About
minutes each
yeah, about
episode?
44 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, I
The
thought it
I
was
think the
shorter.
first episode, yeah, you're right. I think it's the longest, like 50. Because honestly, when I started watching this, I'm like, okay, it's anime, so I'm thinking it's gonna be like 20, 23 minutes. But I'm like, God damn, these episodes are long. I mean, thank God.
And
It's
they
eight
pack a lot
episodes.
into these too.
I know. I was like,
Because
thank
there was a
goodness.
lot of subplots and threads that went
Exactly.
throughout it.
No, but understandably, I mean, they could have broke it down to like 22 minutes an episode and it's probably 16 episodes, but I think 8 episodes and like 44 minutes, 45 minutes was good enough. And again, they explained the story well. They elaborated on the characters. Most of the characters had an arc to it. The storyline had an arc to it. I mean, the biggest arc was Invisible himself and Omni Man. And that his arc is just like him doing his job and then realizing, God damn, I do actually love my son and Vive. So that was good. Even though there were a lot of blood and superheroes, it really was about like, family and a father and son. Like that's that's something anybody can relate to.
Dude, yeah, 100%.
Um,
Interesting that we're talking about this so close to Father's Day.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I was just like, God damn, I'm like, this is I should recommend this to someone to watch on Father's Day.
That'd be
Yeah,
funny.
no. That was, but I, you touched on, I know we touched on the end, but I just want to touch on this part because I think it's really dangerous. Like you said, there's a planet full of super Saiyans just ready to attack, bruh. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, he left the planet, but they're still there. And I'm just wondering, I'm like, yeah, he's he's half, what's the species for, start with an M?
Viltrumite.
Yeah, Vegetamites, I'm sorry. Vegetamites. And he still couldn't beat his own dad. So what are you gonna do with an army of them if they come to attack? So that's what I want to think about. Like, I'm like, I don't know how they're gonna figure it out, what they're gonna do. But it's gonna be it's exciting to see um what's in store for the next couple seasons.
Yeah, like I said, when I was looking up recaps, I did get a little bit of like what is supposed what at least what happens in the comics
Yeah.
and what comes next, which I could reveal, but I don't know if like that'll make people be like, "Oh, what the?"
No, I'll
But
wait for it. I'm waiting for it. Are you gonna now that you just said that? Now that are you gonna read the comics now or no?
I'd like to, but um I mean, I have like so much to read on my own anyway, like textbooks and like books for class or just like things that I'm trying to read on my own. Like comic books have been on the back burner for a long time. Like the last like
Gotcha.
big one that I got that I read through because I watched the show was The Runaways. And
Mm,
the comics way better than the show. Though I do like the show, the comics 1,000 times better than the show.
gotcha.
But I would like to check it out just because from like what I've heard, it's fucking sick.
No, I'd rather it's like The Walking Dead. I wait for the season. I haven't watched the read the comics and stuff like that. It's same thing with this show. Um, it's interesting, but I have so much things to read. I'm like, I just rather watch the show.
Mhm. Yeah, I
I'm
know. I
excited
do
for it.
love because I got two like big crates full of comics,
Yeah,
literally over there and over there,
yeah.
and like they're all ones that I've read and stuff. I'm just kind of sitting on them, collecting them now. But yeah, like
And I want
I
to
just
say,
I wish I could collect them more, but not enough time
like, good for Amazon for deciding to take on this project. You feel me? Making an Amazon original.
because it was passed
Good
on
for
a
them because,
lot of people.
huh?
I like watched this interview with Seth Rogen. It was
Hmm.
passed up by a lot of
I
studios
bet.
for a
I
long
bet
time.
because again with superheroes, if you want to be like, oh, rated R, man, nope, superheroes not supposed to be rated R. They're supposed to be PC-13, PG. They're supposed to save the day. You know what's funny? Um,
Yeah, shout out to
um,
Deadpool for changing the game.
exactly. You know what's funny? I was reading, they have I think Harley on um HBO Max anime series, and I
Oh,
think
I
they
know exactly what you're about to talk about right now.
so um yeah, they have her. I haven't watched the show yet. I just read the article about it.
Yeah,
Um,
I haven't watched it either.
yeah, but it sounds good. Now that I read the article, I'm like,
Apparently,
oh,
it's a very good show. Like, apparently, people like really like the
exactly,
Harley Quinn animated show.
exactly, and again, it's dark and stuff like that. So they have a scene where Batman and Catwoman are having sex and stuff like that,
He's supposed
and
to be eating her
and
kitty.
then they were supposed to the creators and the stuff like that. They wanted Batman to go down on her, but um the
Superheroes don't do that.
exactly, they was just like, oh, no, the studios was like, no, uh they we can't let that happen, and there was just like, why? It's like, oh, because superheroes don't do that. And then there was like,
Superheroes don't do that.
so superheroes are selfless lovers, and then they came clean, and they came clean and was honest. I was like, no, it's because we won't be able to sell toys that way. And I'm like, well, you should have said that in the beginning. We hide behind the fact that superheroes don't do that. The frick they do. Like, so I was just
Yeah.
like, all right, so if it's about money, then that's all you have to say,
I saw a great meme about that because like Red Hood, which is like always Jason Todd,
Mm-hmm.
um, a famous line of his is that like I do what Batman can't, and so it's
Mm-hmm.
just like this whole situation has brought a whole new meaning to that phrase, and it just kills me because it's just like, dude, like that is so wild that they said that. Like, yeah, they should have just been upfront, and just be like, yo, like we gotta sell toys.
Yeah,
Like,
but
yeah, we could do that, but then kids' parents won't let them buy a Batman toy ever again. But like, also, what parent would let their kid watch this show? Like, it
exactly,
very clearly
and
states
that
it's
was one
TV
of the
mature.
exactly that was one of the arguments was that too, is that like, well, the show is already rated R, so the kids won't be able to watch it anyway. So you're not really selling toys by
Yeah,
them
like
watching the show.
it's definitely that first reason still. They're
Yeah,
trying to be like very like what's the word I'm looking for? Puritan in a
yeah,
weird way. Trying to
yeah,
be very Puritan and just being like, oh, that doesn't happen. It's just like,
exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
what do you think he fucking does?
I'm like, I mean, you think if you have superpowers, you're gonna change your ways? And no, you're not. You're gonna probably be worse and stuff like that. So it's funny. I love shows when they're just grounded in reality, especially with superpowers. That's why I love, kind of go a little bit off topic here, but that's why I love The Boys. Because oh,
Superheroes run by corporations. That's
exactly,
exactly what would happen.
it,
Like, don't get me like
exactly what would
100%. If
happen.
Superman showed up tomorrow, he'd have a Coca-Cola sponsorship, bro. You fucking kidding me? He'd have Coca-Cola, he'd have
Bruh.
Nestle, like just everything,
And
dude.
that's why I love shows like that more than, like, to be honest, more than the superhero shows, more than the Marvel. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Marvel and the DC and stuff like that. But when you have shows that are grounded in reality and they're superhero shows, I love them because
And
it's
and
just
they're
like,
not behind that big label. I think
yes,
that's what's impressive is when they're not behind that big label of DC or Marvel. It's like,
mhm,
no, this is actually its own separate independent universe outside of all of this. We
exactly.
should definitely give it recognition. And like I'm glad that's happening more because the fact of the matter is like just because I'm a huge comic nerd, there's a lot of crazy good comics out there that are very worthy of an adaptation.
Hmm.
Just because the people that go, I mean, some of the artwork in some of these things are just fucking bananas. So like it's just so great that when finally somebody recognizes something good like that, they make it into a show. Like Seth Rogen did it with a different comic that's a lot darker called Preacher. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Mm-mm.
Um, but yeah, AMC made a TV show out of it. Um, my buddy and I were like really hooked on it first. He kind of fell off of it because he was just like, I don't really know where it's going. I stayed tuned in. I never got to finish it though because I just got really wrapped up and busy. But like that show was insane, I thought. Just because again, it was another independent. Actually, that was a DC property. I take that back. I thought that was an independent thing.
They
It was
probably
a
they
smaller
probably
DC property.
they probably bought it. Mm-hmm.
Probably just because like I mean nothing was happening with it, but it's really cool because it's I don't want to dive into that. It's too off topic.
No, it's fine. No, I think with Invincible, uh, it's and all these other shows, The Boys is a gateway to this gruesome superhero type of genre where, you know, um
More for
people.
like adults because it's like superheroes don't really get old for me. Like when
Mhm,
people are like, "Oh, fucking grow up, you like superheroes," it's just like, yeah, dude, it's fun. Like,
mhm.
don't ruin my fun because you think it's for little kids.
And right now we're seeing more and more of it. The Umbrella Academy, Doom Patrol, and all the other stuff. Like we're getting more and more of this, and people now, the studios are like, okay, we can make money off of this now and stuff like that, and they're doing more of this. So, Jupiter's Legacy and stuff, even though there are certain problems with that, but I enjoy the show. But yeah, and this show, Invincible, was amazing. I can it was just amazing. The only thing, in my opinion, that was bad about the show was the animation.
Really?
I think the animation go back and watch it. Like, the animation is only good when the people are talking. The background animation is just horrible. It's like
You know
computer
what? People were
generated,
saying that.
huh?
People were saying that.
The
I saw a lot of people make that comment.
Yeah, that's the only thing that was bad about the show. And then maybe, like, I get it. They want to save money, because the gore and all that was maybe more expensive to do. I'm not completely sure about that. I don't know what type of budgeting go into it.
Yeah, I
But
don't either.
the background of the show, when someone's not talking, like, it's just the ugliness of it. And I was just like, ugh, nah, it wasn't it. I think there were when there's there was one part where um Omni Man, everyone was in the kitchen, and Mark came in, and the wife was talking, and Omni Man was like just right next to her, but she was talking, he was just standing still, and even his artwork was just like, no, that's not Omni Man, that's someone else. It kind of was different, and then when Omni Man started talking, I was like, okay, it went back to himself being, him looking the way he's supposed to look and stuff like that. So like, that's the only problem I had with the show.
Yeah, I was just saying another comment for people were saying like all outside of all the fight scenes, like when it was just slowed down, them talking, like I guess that's kind of what you're hitting on here,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
that was it. Yep.
all those slowed down parts, it was just like,
Yep.
hey, do we use all the budget on the fight scenes? What's going on?
Exactly.
And it was funny because I just didn't notice that. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
No, yeah, because I'm more aware now with animation and like surroundings now, and then the effects and how people do things. So I'm aware of that stuff now. When I was a little kid, obviously I didn't know nothing about those things. I was just like, oh my god, the fighting scenes were so cool and this and that. Until like people point out to me, well, this was in there and that was there. I'm like, well, I didn't notice it because I'm too too busy paying attention to the freaking them fighting or talking or whatever.
Yeah,
So, but
exactly.
but what was your like thing that you didn't like about the show,
Hmm.
if any?
Um, Probably was stuff I didn't like, but I'm trying to like. I've been trying to think about that. I've been thinking about it since last night. Just like,
It
what did
probably
I
it probably says it's probably for you probably so small you just probably forgot about
Yeah,
it. You
yeah.
probably
Like, oh no, keep going.
no, so you probably will have to rewatch it again to figure it out.
Yeah, just because of like the stuff. Like, I've just watched more stuff since then, and like,
Hmm.
it's funny because like this is one show where like normally when I try to push stuff onto my friends, they're just like, no. But this was one that I pushed onto all of them, and they all binged it. Like every single one of them, they actually were just like, "Oh yeah, that was a good one." I was just like, "Yeah, like I told you, dude. I'm always trying to help you out here with a good show, and you just
Yeah,
don't listen."
yeah. I watched it. I watched some of the episodes. Well, actually, I watched like the first 5 episodes with my wife. She enjoys it, but again, she pointed out the animation problems and stuff like that. So and I want to get her thoughts on the last episode because I watched it by myself because she was busy and throughout the whole show. And I think she said she had a problem with the first episode, so I want to get her opinion on that. But yeah, for the most part, people enjoyed the show. Like that's what I got from the recaps and people talking about it.
Yeah,
Because
like I think probably an issue I might have now is the animation once I go back and look at it again.
I
But
mean,
like I don't know. I think probably just if I'm gonna nitpick here, I guess something I didn't like was like I felt like it kind of jumped around a lot with
mhm,
like how many subplots it was trying to juggle here. Like, because like if you weren't paying attention, like you definitely like missed something like real quick, and you'd have to go back and just be like, wait, what am I doing here? Like, just because they would bounce between him and then they would go to Robot, or and they go to Rex or Adam Eve and or God, I already forgot the guy's name, but like the Nick Fury type guy.
yeah,
It
Cecil,
just
right?
yeah, Cecil, that was it. Thank you. But yeah, it just bounces between all of them, and I'm just kind of like, normally I do like this, but also it's 8 episodes. Let's maybe trim it a bit, but that's just also again me nitpicking a bit.
Yeah, no, I can agree because some of the subplots was okay, like Adam Eve trying to find her thing and going off to go be what do you call those people? Um, humanitarians that we call them
Oh
when they go
yeah,
out and
yeah,
yeah, they go out and try to save everything in the world and all the other stuff and one with nature and stuff like that. I mean her story was okay. Um, and again with Rex and Robot, I think you say you didn't like Robot. No, I enjoyed him. I enjoyed his story of how he wanted to get that girl. Um, and I think it gonna work at the end because they hold hands towards the end. But Yeah, the subplots was okay. Some better than others, but at least the main story, at least the main plot was good.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's still enough to like hold your attention.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I mean, hell, it even just demands your attention because like you're just like it has something to say. You know what I mean? Because like I spoke about at the beginning is the fact that like it is if you were to do bare bones explain it to somebody, it sounds generic as hell.
Hmm.
It is the same song and dance of every single teenage superhero you can think of. Spider-Man, Blue Beetle,
Hmm.
um, those are my two favorites. I always name them first. I'm trying to think about like what Beast Boy, Raven, Robin, um,
Nightwing. Yeah.
Nightwing.
Yeah. So it's
What? Yeah, it's all new or teenage superhero kind of stuff. But again, it grounds it in reality. And what I think is interesting about this compared to other ones is it actually makes an effort to feel like it's our Earth rather than like some more parallel, stricter, more serious kind of Earth. Because like that's not something you get really in like the DC stuff. Like
hmm.
DC doesn't really try to make it feel like it's almost our world. Marvel does more of that, I would say, but like almost to an extent even like that's just more of the Disney touch to it with those movies like when you get those relatable things but like for the most part they don't do that so it's kind of interesting that they kind of ground that in like a teenage life what it's like today.
Yeah, because they say Chicago, they say other things that are that's in
Yeah, like
reality
not
and
made
stuff
up
like
city like Central City
that. Exactly. Exactly. No, I
stuff
I, I
like
can't
that.
attest to that. That's good. Um, Now I think we pretty unpacked the show pretty well and explained all that we could explain. But what do you think the next couple seasons gonna look like?
um well if from what I've heard from other people saying like oh it's a frame for frame match of the comic book, they're
Hmm.
probably just going to continue with the source material. It's out there; they might as well.
Hmm.
But if they were to go their own path, it'd be really interesting. I think in the next season, just because of like you had mentioned it, it's probably going to deal with a lot of um uh Invincible dealing with the trauma of what the fuck just happened to him and like him probably trying to patch up his relationship with Amber um just because they had a falling. I don't remember if they had gotten back together at the end.
No, they
That
did. They
they
kind
did.
yeah, they did. Hmm.
Okay, so they will already work through it, but probably just them dealing with that though between each other, like her trying to be there for him, and I'm probably going to guess there's going to be some sort of pushing away that he'll do with her,
Mm.
just because he's going to be really caught up in it, and he's going to be afraid of like her getting hurt. Like maybe even something where it's like she almost gets in a situation where she's gonna get badly hurt and it freaks him out. He's just like, no, like this is fucking done. Like, I don't want to see you get hurt at all. So like just distance yourself. Or I'm gonna distance from you. And I think with the dad, I wonder if he comes back. I wonder if he goes back to uh Viltrum to check in on the people. I doubt he would go back there though if he failed because he pretty much did. He didn't
Hmm.
take over Earth, so I bet he's either just trying to hide from them or he's just going to a new place to try to take that planet over.
Mm.
And as far as the Guardians, I'm guessing it's probably gonna. I bet it comes in with them really clicking. I don't think we're going to see more of them trying to figure it out because that
Yeah.
was kind of what this first season did. We're just going to get now like they're in full force. They're firing on all cylinders. They're killing it. Everybody loves them. And I don't know, maybe we're going to see some like sort of dire situation where they got to face off against a villain, or I'm going to make a guess that something happens within the group that this like there's like a power dynamic shift or like there's all like a mole sort of situation. I don't know. Like
I think
there's a betrayal.
also like I think for me, I think next season is gonna be. I think because they kind of mentioned that towards the end of the episode, with all the local villains that's popping up. I think they're gonna focus more on that and leave Omni Man out for a while. Like I said, if they're like I
Huh?
said, I haven't watched the read the comics,
I
so
haven't either.
maybe I could be wrong. Well, let me know. I could be wrong, but this is what I envision the next season is going to be, my opinion. They're going to focus more on the local villains, and like you said, um, the Guardians of the Globe, they're going to be, already set. They're going to know each other. They're going to be able to fight together, and we're not going to all that. We're not going to have all that infighting we saw in this episode. And then the love between Amber and Mark is going to happen. To be honest, I always thought there was going to be a love triangle between Eve, Amber, and Mark, but that didn't happen. I'm just like, okay, they didn't go that route. You know, every time I see like two girls and and a guy that kind of the guy liking kind of both of them, I thought they're going to be a love triangle for that drama, but they didn't go that route. But um again. And I think you're gonna see Omni Man on the season finale of season 2.
Ooh.
So so they can have something to show for season 3. That's my not, that's something I would do. That's just me. But again, that's my theory. It probably would be completely different. If I probably read the comic books, it probably could be different. But that's how I see season 2.
Interesting thought. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if anybody that's like read the comments what they could add in
Yeah,
and like share with us of like what they think or what they see in the comics is happening and like maybe
exactly,
that kind of clues it in.
exactly.
But I like your theory. That'd be interesting. But yeah, I'll very excited to see what'll happen. I don't know when that next season's supposed to drop, but I'm
Nope.
guessing.
I mean, they dropped like 2020. They
Yeah,
dropped in
I was
2021,
gonna say
right?
maybe later this year.
Yeah,
If not,
It dropped
probably
around
next year.
April, right? Yeah, it dropped probably around March or April. Um,
Oh, it dropped this year. Wow.
I think though,
So probably next year
probably gonna
then.
be a couple years. Probably gonna be a couple years before you see. Probably next year. Hopefully, depending on how fast they do it, um,
Yeah.
probably we get another one next year.
Yeah, because they're definitely focusing on that Lord of the Rings show right now.
On the live action.
Yeah. Well, I mean, though
Or
technically
not
I
live action.
shouldn't
Oh,
be
live
calling
action.
it.
Sorry.
No, it
Sorry.
shouldn't be. What'd you say?
No, go ahead.
I was saying technically they shouldn't call it Lord of the Rings because it doesn't happen within the timeline of where the Lord of the Rings happened in the show that's coming out. It's going to happen like way in the past because J.R.R. Tolkien created this entire like literally the book of the whole universe is like insanely big called the Silmarillion. So they're taking it from that and it's just like why don't you just call it something? But you call Lord of the Rings just because then that just draws the
Yeah,
fan base and the crowd in
the
there.
fan base. Yep, exactly.
Just marketing.
So, anything else you want to say about the show? You want to give to viewers?
Uh, if you haven't watched it, what are you doing? Watch it.
Yeah, you didn't watch the show. If you can't take the gore, then it's not the show for you. If you can't take brains being crushed, blood, like yeah, the show is not for you. But if you can take that, and this is also for my anime viewers out there, because if y'all watched Naruto, if y'all watch Attack on Titans, y'all can take the blood. So watch the show. Go watch the show. That is
If you
great.
don't have Amazon Prime, either get it or get it from a friend.
Hey, do the free trial. There's a 30-day free
Oh
trial.
yeah,
You can
do a
watch
free
that show
trial.
in a day or two. Like
And if
or two.
if you already done a free trial, make a new email account and put in fake information.
Exactly. create a email, yeah, new email accounts free, and then just do it again. That's it. That's it, man. So okay, what you rate the show? 1 out of 10.
I think I'm gonna give it. I was tinkering between an 8.5 to a 9.
Okay. I can't agree with that. Eight and a nine to uh eight and a half. I'll probably give it, to be honest, I'll probably give it an 8. Maybe if we probably argue a little bit, I'll probably give it 8.5.
Yeah,
But eight to 8.5 for me.
I was gonna say, yeah, for me, I kind of went with the Fantano rating there, like a strong 8.5 to a soft 9.
Exactly.
Like that's where it
I
sits for
can't,
me.
like I said, there's things I didn't enjoy about it. But again, small things, so that's why I can't rate perfectly. But it's a strong show, I believe. Good cast, um, good some animation, and the one they focused on animation, not the one they didn't. Um, the storyline, everything was good. So at 8.5, good watch the show. I think they rated um on Prime like 4.7 out of 5.
Yeah, IMDb gives it a
Yeah,
9.1, which
yeah,
IMDb, that's a hard thing to do.
exactly. And everyone is talking about this show, so it's good. And I'm happy again. We talked about before, these type of shows, superhero shows where they show the blood and they show the dark side of being a superhero, are becoming popular now. Like it's amazing. I like it.
Yeah, people want to see that because they don't want the sugar coated shit no more. Like,
No, bro.
yes, they do love it. They love the Marvel movies. That's never going to
Yeah,
stop. But like,
yeah,
when you don't want that, you go to that or the boys.
yeah. And the only reason we have Marvel and DC, is because they already have their own fan base. There already was their comic book, so we want a live action to it. The boys, the Invincible, the Jupiter Legacy, we kind of don't know that genre, or unless you read the comic books and stuff like that. So we're happy to see that they're bringing that to life in a more grounded way. So
Absolutely.
all right. So I think you guys should watch the show. Comment about what you guys think about it. What's your thoughts about the show, what we talked about. If you have any other opinions, let us know in the comment section. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Fate Podcast. We're gonna have more content for you guys. And I think honestly, the next show we're gonna record or review is Loki episode 1. Because I heard that was really good. I haven't watched it yet, but we're gonna record it.
It's getting so crazy already. Like,
we're gonna record it and we're gonna let you guys know when we're gonna drop it. Again, comment, like the page, follow, subscribe, and see you next time. Peace.
peace.